Welcome to La Palma for the first ultra race of the trail running season. Transvulcania is arguably one of the best known races in the world. It's got brutal climbs, extended sections over 2,000 meters and thigh-breaking downhills. Despite this, maybe because of this, it attracts thousands of competitors. And many of the world's best are here, including Mont Blanc winner Ludovic Pomeray.
I heard a lot on this race. It's a very important race at spring, a nice race, but very tough and quite difficult. It's it's faster than UTMB, of course, but it's very difficult because it's a long climb, and near the end there's a long descent as well. That could be very difficult to manage.
The island comes to life about a week before the event as the runners trickle in, all looking for that perfect preparation. And the atmosphere builds and builds. It's a truly international race. Japan, New Zealand, Sweden, Russia, and a strong team from the USA, headed by Hayden Hawks.
I always like to go to the most, competitive races in the world. And I feel like coming to Transvulcania here at La Palma is one of the most competitive races in the world. It's a place where I can come, I can really push myself to the limit. I can get out there and push with some of the best guys in the world. I also have seen the beauty of this island and the atmosphere with the people cheering and just coming out to support the runners. And it's just a place that I've always really wanted to come to.
As the holiday makers enjoy the sun, the sea and the black volcanic sands, the runners prepare for the traditional opening event, the vertical K. The winner of the last three Transvulcania Ultras, Luis Alberto Hernando, has chosen to do this one. This year, I can't do the big race, so I'll run the vertical K and the marathon, which are two great races with a lot of talent. I will regret not finishing in Los Llanos, but I've had these feelings before. Well, one of the favourites has to be Yuri Yoshizumi, and she's brought her fans with her all the way from Japan. She's the winner of last year's Asian skyrunning circuit, and she's a brilliant vertical K runner, unbeaten last season. Hernando, what can he do on the big climb? Some will just enjoy the experience. All of them will enjoy the crowds. Nowhere else on the planet do the runners get support like this. This is Yuri Yoshizumi of Japan saying that since she started racing in the vertical kilometer races last year, she's only raced on the Asian circuit and she wanted an international experience just to test her level. She's been told that La Palma is the best known race with the best runners and the scenery is unbelievable. So she decided to come to La Palma. Well, she's got some stiff competition. In the men's, Padua, certainly a man to watch out for. Only 20 years old, and of course the Norwegian Stian Angermund Vik, one of the favourites to win this. He goes last, wearing bib number 1. Now, for those of you not familiar with the vertical K, it's a 1,000 metre climb, as the name suggests. And here they start at sea level, go right up to 1,000 metres. The distance covered in this race is quite significantly greater than many of the other routes, but there's no doubt that this is the most spectacular of the venues, and that's why we get such a good entry. Light body weight, essential for speed on this sort of a climb, and pacing, crucial. Many struggle to walk this route. And of course, those doing the ultra marathon will finish coming down this route after 75 kilometers of running. Yoshizumi looking fresh as she reaches the halfway stage and pushing a pace that none of the other women can match at the moment. Hernando has decided to go with the ski poles. That's interesting. Most of the top vertical kilometer runners don't use them. but if you've got the arm muscles, and he has them from ski mountaineering. Here's Padua, great runner. Angerman Vik comes from Bergen in Norway. Plenty of hills around there to train on. Good sky runner as well, but the vertical kilometer is one that he's excelling at the moment. The world record, an incredible 29:42. That was set in Fully in Switzerland, where they race up a funicular site. Here the times usually come in around 45-46 minutes for the fastest men. The women's world record 34:44, also at Fully. Well, the terrain here is rough, unforgiving, but there's no sight like the finish.
The race was really tough. I think I did start a little bit too quick, and after the first big climb I felt like a little bit heavy legs, but there was a lot of people cheering for me, and that helped me keep going.
So victory for Angerman Vik and Yoshizumi, the two favourites coming out on top. Well, from the vertical kilometre, all attention switches to the ultra marathon. 78 kilometres, starting at 6 in the morning. The atmosphere has gone from excitement to nervousness. 1,500 runners entered for this competition. In the women's, there's only one favourite. It's Ida Nilsson of Sweden, the defending champion.
I feel so nice to return. That was my first sky race ever last year, and it was really unexpected for me to run so well. And this year I felt a little bit more pressure, but once I arrived here, I enjoy it so much again, and I feel really happy and relaxed, and I look forward to the race.
The quickest will take over 7 hours, the slowest closer to 17. With last year's champion absent from the men's field, a chance then for Nicolas Martin of Côte d'Azur. Second place for him last year. He says he's very proud to return to La Palma after last year's experience, and he got to know the race pretty well. He knows the route, he knows the environment, he knows how to pace it. He says last year, of course, was a fantastic experience, finishing second, and so many people here, a lot of atmosphere in the Canaries. He says even in the first food station there were many spectators cheering, and he's not known that in any other race anywhere in the world. It's an astonishing feeling, and he's very proud to relive those moments. Well, the ultramarathon starting at the lighthouse at Fuencaliente. It takes the GR131, the walking route that runs up the volcanic spine of the island, and then they drop left down to Tazacorte before the climb up to Plaza de España in Los Llanos. Ida Nilsson knows exactly what's coming.
It will be a really tough race again with a lot of fast and good women, but yeah, I look forward to race, and I will really try my best to try to defend the win from last year.
Ida Nilsson has a reputation for starting fast, and she's done exactly that this year. And as dawn breaks and they start to traverse the slopes of Volcan de Martin, two Americans have broken away in the men's field. Hayden Hawks is there as expected, but former track runner Tim Ferrick's outstanding performance so far. He's getting a taste for the hills and liking it. Dmitry Mityev of Russia is up there. Xavier Thevenard is also going well. Number 11, Tom Owens of Great Britain. A great start from him. Malik looking good, looking fresh. Pomeray, the winner of the Mont Blanc Marathon, also up with the leaders. And Po Capel, who's a man on form. He says this is a very unique test because of all the sand in the early stages. The first 20 is really tough. The first 50 kilometers are all uphill. And then, of course, the big downhill at the end makes such a contrast. The ever-smiling Ida Nilsson breaking away from the rest of the women's field. Rousset, Allen and Ragnar Batz of Holland left wondering what they can do to beat the Swede. De Batz says she knows there are some strong women in the field. and that's what she likes. She knows it brings the top performances out of them. Well, as they approach Las Deseadas, 16.5 kilometers completed, they're already over an altitude of 1,800 meters, and this race's reputation has spread across the Atlantic thanks to the likes of Canada and Walmsley, and Hayden Hawkes knows all about it.
Coming to Transvulcania here at La Palma is one of the most competitive races in the world. I've seen the beauty of this island and the atmosphere with the people cheering and just coming out to support the runners. And it's just a place that I've always really wanted to come to.
Along with Pomeray, Xavier Thevenard comes to La Palma with a UTMB victory to his name. Thevenard saying he comes to Transvulcania because the race always attracts the top talent, and it's an interesting route, it's a beautiful island, the scenery is spectacular, and these are the factors why he makes the trip to La Palma. Well, there's a little respite from the climbing as they approach El Pilar. They know they're going higher, much, much higher. The USA have 1 and 2 in the men's. Ida Nielsen leads the women's, but there's a long way to go. Welcome back to La Palma for the Transvulcania. The ultra runner races approaching El Pilar, a temporary reprieve from the volcanic landscape and a chance to open the legs and appreciate the supporters out on the course. And of course, look forward to the next feeding station. Hayden Hawkes has been pushing the pace on the downhill, and he's first into El Pilar. Tim Frerichs lost a little bit of time, but still looking very comfortable. Ludovic Pomeray, 41-year-old from France, he wants to win this one. Malik looking better than he was last night, the smile indicating that things are going well. Tom Owens also still up with the leading 6 contenders, and Ida Nielsen, who's had another blistering start here at Transvulcania with a comfortable lead in the women's race over Rousset and Allen. El Pilar doubling up as the finish for what must be the toughest half marathon in the world. Remy Bonnet, Efren Segundo coming in together.
For me it was good to share the victory, and I think it's the spirit of the trail running, and I hope it will be the same for many years. And yeah, the people was cheering a lot, was amazing on the top of the ridge. Transvulcania is, I think, one of the best race of the season, and I will come back for sure.
2:19:21, the winning time for the half marathon. And in the women's half, Virginia Perez nails it, 2:48:38, 11 minutes clear. She said, I finished so excited. I didn't expect to win. A lot of people with a high standard come from other countries, and you don't quite know what shape you're in at this time of the season, so she's delighted to have got the victory. Gabriela Sanchez crossing in 2:59:55. The Transvulcania week involving multiple distances. The half marathon we've seen, and the start of the marathon is a big race. 657 entries in all, including Luis Alberto Hernando, 3 times winner of the Ultra. He wears the grey t-shirt. Daniel Garcia is there, 2007, 2001. Danielson Pereira, what an exciting runner he is. And this race finishes at Tazacorte. Well, the pace is high early on, and Hernando just biding his time, up with the leading 3. Many of the fans disappointed he's not doing the Ultra this year. But he knows that the marathon is tough, and he says he knows that the descent down to Tazacorte is going to be decisive. The first 25 kilometers, it'll be difficult to break away from his rivals, and the games will start when the descent starts. The ultra runners onto El Reventon, 31 kilometers completed. Fernando still pushing hard, huge amount of support for him as he works his way through some of the slower ultra runners, but as expected he still has company. Pereira going very well, and Danny Garcia is there as well with the leaders of the marathon event. The pace slightly slower in the ultra. In the women's, in the marathon, Eva Benet-Laurence has opened up a 2-minute gap over Gemma Arenas. And now it's time for Roque de los Muchachos, the high point of the course. It signals the end of the climbing and the start of one of the world's most notorious descents. The first section is okay, it's rough ground, but it's not so steep. Tim Frerichs now leading the men's on his own. He wanted to lead by this stage, he's got it. He's broken away from Hayden Hawkes.
You need to make sure that you have good enough legs to be able to hit that downhill hard at the end, because that's where the race is won, is on that downhill every year. I know it's going to be very competitive, that there's going to be a lot of really tough guys out there from all around the world. You know, I've been training for that descent. I've been doing a lot of runs in the Grand Canyon, and I feel like that will prepare me and get me ready to run fast down that last descent.
Well, the news is not good for Hawkes. He's slowing down. Malik, on the other hand, seems to be going well. Formerly from Morocco, now lives in Spain, and he's hugely popular in these parts. Malik sitting in 4th at the moment. Fulvio Dopi, 30 minutes off the pace of the race leader Frerichs. Ida Nielsen out on her own, as she has been from the first 100 metres. There's no stopping the Swede. Rousset still looking fresh enough, but unable to match the pace of Nielsen. Hilary Allen. As the leaders go past Torre del Time, they've completed 61.9 of the 74 kilometres. They've dropped 1,300 metres in the last 10 kilometres, but they still have another 1,100 metres to go down. This is without doubt the toughest part of the race. Frerick leads from Pomeray and Malik up there.
Transvulcania lo conozco.
He says Transvulcania, he knows it well enough to know that the descent is the most important part, and he's got it in his memory. He said with no Kylian Jornet or Luis Alberto Hernando, there's still a high level of runners, and it's going to be a tough job to hit the podium. Hayden Hawkes has had his day. Ida Nielsen, barring disaster, is about to make hers, but this is the start of the dreaded descent. Nothing is even. Some rock is loose, some isn't. Only two things are consistent: the gradient and the pain. Hilary Allen still sitting in 3rd in the women's event as she starts the hairpin bends down towards Tazacorte. Tim Frerichs, an outstanding performance from the American. He's new to trail running. If he performs like this, he will be one of the biggest names. A 15-minute lead as he starts the 5-kilometre climb up to the finish. And Pomeray of France will not catch him. Nicolas Martin, second last year, with Hernando missing. He thought it might be his year, but no, he sits in 3rd at the moment, and Malik is closing on those podium positions. 5,000 metres to go. Medvedev of Russia started fast and feeling the pain now. A fall from Nielsen on the downhill evidently, but still she keeps going. Her debut here last year was impressive. This year's performance even more so. Rousset knows second is the best that she can do. And here comes Hernando, who's in the marathon event this year. 3 times winner of the Ultra. It's the marathon title that he claims this year.
Muy contento, muy emocionado
He says he's really happy, very excited to take the win. He's quite happy to admit he'd love to have finished at Los Llanos, but the welcome in Tazacorte is spectacular as well. It's been a good race, just what he wanted, a great duel with Danny, and he kept him pushing all the way. So the 1, 2, 3 in the marathon, winning time 3:46.01. Hernando first, Garcia second, Klein of Germany in third place. And in the women's marathon event, Eva Bernat taking the win, 4:54.35. She says, normally I like the downhill sections, but the truth about this race is when you get to the top of the downhill, the legs are already exhausted. She said she had very little energy. She thought she could fall at any moment, but she survived it to take top spot. Gemma Arenas in second, 4:58. Van McKellen, 5 minutes down. The top 3 in the women's, all from Spain. So the marathon runners have the luxury of finishing at the bottom of the downhill in Tazacorte. The ultra runners still have a 5-kilometer climb to go.
It will be difficult as well when you be down at near the level and to climb to the finish line. If you are really tired, it's only 5K, but it will be very difficult. So I think you have to manage and to keep your pace until the finish line.
Tim Frerichs still running as smoothly as he was 7 hours ago. He'll remember every inch of the course, and all the athletes will remember the crowds. For a relative novice, someone who only entered 2 weeks ago, that was a masterclass from Frerichs. Pomeray takes second. And Malik delighted with third place, 24 minutes down on Frerichs.
This is like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. This is incredible. We just don't have races quite like this in the United States. The fans and the whole atmosphere, everything about the island, it's just amazing.
Ida Nielsen, no surprise to see her taking the win. She's run 2, 1-2, and a new record time of 8:04. Rousset second for the second year in succession, and Hilary Allen completing the podium, 34 minutes behind the winner Nielsen.
Very happy, so nice to come back, but it was more pressure this year because last year I just did it and it just went amazingly well, but this time I felt so good the whole way also, except the last part. So it was tough up from Tazacorte, but I made it.
Frerichs and Nielsen will take the headlines, but everyone who completes is a winner here in La Palma. The course is certainly unique. The scenery is unmatched, but it's the crowds and the fact that the islanders get behind the event every year that make this event unforgettable.